Welcome to our conference call with the person behind the BOINC project Citizen Science Grid. It's Travis Desell. He is assistant professor in the computer science department at the University of North Dakota. Today we have 10 persons in attendance, and we'll proceed now to the questions from our questions template. The first question was, Travis, what is your BOINC project actually doing for the people who don't know yet CSG, Citizen Science Grid?
Sure. So the Citizen Science Grid actually kind of started up when, how to put this? So I came to University of North Dakota from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, where I got my PhD and did some postdoctoral work. And while I was there, I helped set up Milky Way at Home. I don't know if you're familiar with that BOINC project, which is still running over at RPI. And then I also set up DNA at Home as part of my postdoc work. I kind of moved the DNA at Home project with me to UND when I came out here. And then I started working with, various faculty around campus, and with one of another faculty member in computer science, set up Subset Sum at Home for some of his research. Unfortunately, he just retired last semester, so we've kind of shut that down a little bit, or not doing anything on it because I don't have a theorist to work with anymore. But I ended up with Wildlife at Home with a biologist, Susan Feligi. We had some funding from the National Science Foundation to set up Wildlife at Home, and I found myself with some 3 volunteer computing projects running, with separate copies of BOINC, and it was kind of a mess. So I merged them all together into the Citizen Science Grid. So I only had to worry about like one forum and one copy of the BOINC software and that type of stuff, just to make my life a lot easier. So that's kind of how the Citizen Science Grid kind of formed, because there were just various projects around campus that needed volunteer computing, and it kind of made sense to have them all in one spot. So now, kind of what we're doing with Citizen Science Grid, I actually just sent out a paper to this year's Genetic and Evolutionary Computation Conference, like last Monday, for a new algorithm I've developed for Wildlife at Home, where we're trying to evolve the structure of convolutional neural networks so we can do some image classification to try and pick out the different birds and things like that, and all the imagery we have. So that's kind of the big thing we're running right now. I'm hoping to have more work units up and going for DNA at Home. There's kind of like a weird timeline where I have to get data from the people I work with in the med school who are collaborating on that project, and then we'll do some crunching for a while, and then there's kind of like a lot of downtime. I think I've rambled on a bit enough here. So, do you have any kind of more specific questions along that line?
No, I think you did fine, and that's pretty extraordinary. Just to kind of follow up a bit.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's all it's all from your work. Yeah, it's and probably you'll also invest a lot of free time into it, or?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much when I'm not out doing something for a little fun, I'm probably working on Citizen Science Grid or any one of the other research projects that I have going on campus. Wildlife at Home is still funded by the National Science Foundation. I think the grant finishes up this summer. And I'm on some 6 odd other research projects that don't even involve volunteer computing. So it's kind of a labor of love at this point, where I get a lot of work done on weekends and things like that when I'm not stuck doing other things.
Yeah, because that I thought, because you took a project from someone else, and then but it's actually not bad, because when you do now a few projects, you get involved with different departments, and perhaps it's easier for you to convince your colleagues, to make a BOINC project also, because you are so into it or familiar, So I don't know, do you do some, announcements on mailing lists, on internal mailing lists, like, hey, if somebody needs help, you can give me more work or something like that?
Yeah, I work with somebody who does a lot of the kind of high performance computing around campus. And so the nice thing about having a volunteer computing project like the Citizen Science Grid is that we can A, we get a lot of computing resources out of it, and B, when you have like bag of tasks type stuff, which fit well on a volunteer computing project, we can run them on the citizen science grid instead of having it on our high performance computing cluster. So it kind of frees up some hardware for research that requires a lot of inter-process communication, which you can't really do on BOINC. So, whenever we come across somebody who's got an interesting project that might run on it, we usually talk to them about that.
Okay, and do you have some numbers, like the citizen science grid has 20 teraflops or whatever, and our internal how did you call it? The computer hardware from the university, for example, can do so much teraflops or so. Do you have there some numbers?
Yeah. So I don't quite know teraflops, and it's really kind of hard to really get a good grasp of how many teraflops are being offered on a BOINC project. They kind of do some of the different websites like BOINC Stats. So like they do a calculation which converts, I don't know, credit to flops somehow, but it's pretty fuzzy at best. Yeah, but I mean, our cluster on campus actually isn't that big. Hopefully we'll be upgrading it this year, but right now it's only 256 cores, and I think right now the Citizen Science Grid has some 3,500 computers with recent credit. So, I mean, it's more than 10 times the size of our computing cluster.
Okay, good to know. So basically the BOINC project is really contributing and helping. Good to know. Cool.
Yeah, quite a bit. It's kind of funny. Back when I was at RPI working on Milky Way at home, RPI just spent, I don't know, some $90 million to buy a Blue Gene supercomputer for the university, and we started using the supercomputer for what we were doing Milky Way at home with. But then that project gained quite a bit of popularity because I think we were one of the first projects out there that had GPU applications, and then so we ended up with. At the time, I think we were like, if you compared Milky Way at home to the top 500 supercomputing list, some 8 years ago, it was probably number 3 on that list. So we stopped using the Blue Gene at RPI because Milky Way at home, which was like a $6,000 server, was giving us more compute power. So volunteer computing can do a lot of really cool stuff if you have if you have the right type of application to run on it.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks. Then let's see. You mentioned you submitted a paper, yeah? Well, could you give a little bit some information about your recent papers? About which projects there were. What did you find? What did the BOINC users help finding? New research-wise.
Yeah, actually, I think the paper I just submitted, hopefully it gets accepted, was really cool. Kind of state of the art. I don't know how familiar you guys are with convolutional neural networks, but they're kind of big in the machine learning and computer vision community. And right now, most people just use some kind of fixed architectures to train for the neural networks to do these image classification tasks. But what the current algorithm on Citizen Science Grid is doing, I call it exact. It's kind of evolving the structure of convolutional neural networks, and I actually got really, really good results with one of the benchmark tasks that I'm using for testing. So there's a data set called the MNIST handwritten digits data set, which is basically 60,000 different numbers like 0 through 9 handwritten. So it makes kind of a good test to see if you can train a neural network to figure out which image is which number, and I think we got up to almost 98% test accuracy on that data set with evolved neural networks, which is pretty cool. So right now I'm working on improving some of the algorithms behind how we train the neural networks, because I think we can squeeze even more out of that, and then kind of put it to work on the different. So we also have on the Citizen Science Grid crowdsourcing thing. So we're not just sending out work units to people, but wildlife. We have a bunch of web pages for wildlife at home where people can take look at video or images and kind of mark them up to tell us where birds or other animals are in those videos and images. So we're using that to kind of the idea is to use that to train the neural network so we can automate detection of the wildlife. down the road. So we're kind of combining crowdsourcing aspects with the volunteer computing aspects to do some pretty cool stuff.
Nice. I experienced some part of it. I wanted to post in your forum, and I saw, I need to have this, from the workouts, or I need to watch a video. That was different than on other projects because I could then after watching immediately succeed. Yeah, but it's good. I watched the video, yeah, and it was a nice way, to bring a new user, so to say, yeah, to your topics, to your research topics.
Yeah, actually, you have this question in there a little bit later, but the reason I set that up was because spammers have been pretty good at getting into BOINC forums. So having people go at least click the link to look at a video prevented a lot of spam posts.
Yeah, it's probably a good mechanism, but it's also, it doesn't hurt the right people, because I wanted to post now about the session, yeah, and otherwise I'd have needed to crunch a little bit, which takes time and so, yeah. So it's a good solution, yeah, because it protects, but still is only a small barrier for the right people.
Yeah, and I've seen, in the past, sometimes people want to post because they're having an issue, like their work units are crashing, but you can't get credit without working work units. So it gives another option.
Yeah. Okay. Let me add a question to the papers. Are you referencing the BOINC users in your papers, or only like a general comment? In part. People or users, or let's say the users from the BOINC project, blah blah blah, help me for this, thank you, something like that, or yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, actually, if you go and you look at all of our publications to this point, everything that's used volunteer computing, we have an acknowledgement section at the end of papers, and I always thank all our volunteers there.
Good.
I couldn't quite do it for the most recently, the paper I just submitted, because it's a double-blind review, so I couldn't mention who I was, and I didn't mention the name of the volunteer computing project. But if it's accepted, then I'll add all that stuff in.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that there would even be stipulations like that.
The question I asked was because on the University at Home project, yeah, when you go to your settings, they have like an option. Do you want your name listed in publications? Yeah. So I don't know, perhaps for the specific working units, like perhaps they can find out who contributed for this and that, and then they offer like they can put your name, as for example my name, into the paper. So I asked because of that, if that's, for example, also possible.
Since we're evolving these neural network architectures to do detection, the next step is I want to track what user submitted or did the work unit that had the best neural network. So then either give them a badge and, or maybe mention them if we find a new best overall architecture for any of these benchmark problems that we're going to try it on.
Okay. So the next question was, how long do you plan to run your project for? Since you also have let's say, how many, 3 or 4 projects together? Yeah. Is there a timeline or a roadmap or something like that? Or for example, personal reasons, I must stop in 2 years or something.
Well, I mean, as long as I have a faculty position, I'm going to keep running the citizen science grid. And, I'll probably, if I move to another university, I'll probably take it along with me. So I don't really have any plans on stopping it anytime, as long as I have volunteers.
Does CSG have any milestone goals in terms of time, working units completed, or elsewise?
No, not really. I mean, I've kind of designed it such that we can hopefully keep a good steady flow of work going. I mean, at this point, it's the more volunteers we have, the more work units we can go through, the merrier, because it lets me evolve those convolutional neural networks faster.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have now currently a poll, a Gridcoin poll about who wants Citizen Science Grid into the whitelist, and if this succeeds, then yeah, you will get a lot of new crunchers. Yeah, I've posted this on the announcement thread. Yeah, people can find the link there, and the poll will go, I think, until February 25. Yeah, and 1 or 2 days later, or perhaps on the same day, it gets whitelisted, and then you'll probably see a lot of working units crunched. Yeah, Customer just posted the link, and there you can, or people can track the progress. Yeah. How people voted, but we can come to this later. Yeah. Okay. The next question is how or are you rewarding your users? You mentioned before you give out badges. Yeah. Is there another way? For example, you also mentioned the BOINC users in general and the in the papers. Yeah. Is there any other way you reward them?
That's pretty much it right now. Depending on things, how things go, funding wise, or if we can get more support within the university. Back at RPI for Milky Way at Home, I think we'd send some people T-shirts, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice idea. Because when CSG gets on the white, people can earn Gridcoins, or which is a reward. So basically, over the Gridcoin, you are rewarding them, so to say. Yeah. There is also, like other BOINC projects like drug discovery, and they issue their own tokens, or they want to issue their own tokens, and then they'd also give them to their users, to their crunchers. So there are different ways, but when you are in the Gridcoin whitelist, will they join the team Gridcoin, get Gridcoins for it. So the next question is about your working units, your applications. Yeah, is there from recommendation an experience like project like wildlife is better suited for Windows users, or for example DNA at Home is better for Linux?
I've tried to make the work units such that they'll run at least as fast as I can get them on whatever operating system. So it doesn't really matter Windows, Linux, or Mac. I actually do all my development on on Macs, but there's not any specific operating system type or anything like that I recommend.
Okay. Do you plan to support, for example, like ARM devices?
We did a little bit of that with Subset Some at Home. I think we had an app made for ARM devices. I'm not quite sure if that's going to work with what we're doing right now. Both the convolutional network stuff and DNA at Home have some pretty large memory requirements, and I don't know if they'll run too well on ARM.
Mm. Yeah, I remember because, for example, Yo-Yo's recently switched to an app which needs like 1.8 gigabyte RAM or something, and for example, that was on my ARM device, not so, and then I decided to not crunch it anymore.
There's also one which needs 10 gigabyte.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I am trying. One of the other things on my to-do list, though, is to get the new code working on GPUs. I think we can get some pretty decent performance out of that. So that's on the to-do list.
Okay, thanks. The next question is, when your project didn't have any working units anymore, what were the most common problems which caused that? Like perhaps a server failure, hard disk crash, or something like that.
Actually, the biggest problem for me is time. I'm on, like I said, I'm on like 7 externally funded grants right now through the university, and only one of those is related to volunteer computing. That's the one we're getting funded on for Wildlife at Home. So I kind of running around like a crazy person most of the time. So when we had that downtime, there wasn't just I didn't have enough time to get things up and running.
Okay, I see. Can you share a little bit details about the BOINC server itself?
Yeah, so we actually had the BOINC server used to be on a different machine, but then the university got some pretty decent virtual machine resources. So we have kind of like a little farm of VMs on campus. So the Citizen Science Grid is now run off a VM in our data center. So that's pretty nice because we can kind of easily increase CPU or memory as needed, and don't have to worry about a particular piece of hardware crashing and having the Citizen Science Grid go down, because since it's in a virtual machine in that kind of server farm, if whatever it's running on currently goes down, it'll just be moved over to different hardware there.
Do you have, as an experienced BOINC admin now, do you have some tips or hints to a fresh admin? Let's say somebody wants to start a BOINC project, and then you could say, oh yeah, avoid this problem, or avoid admins mentioned, oh yeah, hard disk is a big problem on BOINC projects, get a fast one, or for example, like, oh, get a lot of RAM or something like that.
Honestly, it kind of all depends on the project you're trying to run. I think a lot of those requirements, like how much RAM you need, how much disk space you need, are kind of dependent on what your application's doing. BOINC itself is the basic BOINC software is pretty lightweight, so you don't really need any specifics along those lines. Probably maybe one of the bigger things is if your project starts to really grow and get popular, your server is going to be hammered by all the volunteered hosts looking for work. So in that case, sometimes it helps to have more processors on there.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question would be, what kind of help do you need for your BOINC projects? From Gridcoin or other groups, something where we could help or others could help. You mentioned, for example, before the identification in the videos, that they help you with the work there. So that's one thing. Other areas where people could help you?
If you can figure out a way to, make days be 34 hours or something like that instead of 24, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think if someone finds that, yeah, he'll get a lot of money.
Yeah, but honestly, other than that, things are running pretty good. It's just the more volunteered hosts we get, the merrier, because then I can kind of run our tests quicker. Like for the last paper, I think it took me about 2 weeks for the evolved neural networks to start looking pretty good. So that would go quicker with more users. Then yeah, the crowdsourcing stuff, looking at images and video, is actually really helpful. We've had quite a few publications on that, comparing how well the citizen scientists at the Citizen Science Grid were at looking, detecting events in video or in images. And we have a ton more images coming on the next few years. Susan, the biologist I work with, she's been going up to the Hudson Bay in Canada every summer, and for a few weeks, and she has a pretty sweet UAV that they fly around. So they've been kind of trying to the snow geese up there are kind of acting like an invasive species and eating up a lot of vegetation and things like that. So we're working on analysis techniques to count the snow geese, but also figure out what they're nesting around and things like that. So hopefully the wildlife biologists up in Canada can help the environment a little bit by I don't know. What's the right word? Getting rid of some of the geese.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we have at least one person from Canada. Yeah, perhaps he gets interested also in that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know if killing them is the answer. It seems a little extreme.
They're pretty rude, though.
Yeah. So actually, one of the things they're looking into is I think polar bears will eat them, but they actually are just wreaking havoc on the environment up there. They just go through and they basically eat everything. So they turn the tundra up there into basically like mud, because they just eat all the plants. So it's kind of a big issue with them being a somewhat invasive species.
It's kind of crazy. Something I've never even thought about. I just like watching them fly around.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But at least
they're friggin' vicious too, man.
Yeah, they are pretty mean.
They'll sometimes they get lost in the city and they'll just attack random people and stuff. Pretty funny.
Okay. Okay. So let's. When they attack you, you have the right to kill them probably, and then take home and eat. Yeah.
Well, yeah, good luck, man. They're pretty big, like close up. They're pretty. I don't know. I wouldn't fuck with a goose, man.
Okay, let's proceed with. This is about the security. What kind of security does Citizen you provide? VirtualBox applications, and then later on we can also spammers, so SSL, working unit encryption, VirtualBox, spammers. Yeah.
So I do believe we're running using HTTPS now, and I believe we have SSL certificates installed, but I think there might be still a couple issues there that we need to iron out before that's all smoothly taken care of. I'm not quite sure what you mean by work unit protection. Our apps don't run in VirtualBox. I mean, I think I'm not sure how the performance of that is right now, and I'm not or how if it's finished being installed yet. So we're kind of vanilla BOINC in that regard.
I think maybe for the work unit protection, it was talking about like people injecting odd code into the work units themselves.
Well, I mean, I don't think since I'm compiling all the applications myself, I don't think anybody could put anything weird in there. And then we have BOINC uses a kind of public-private key authentication for applications that are downloaded. So I don't think that would be an issue.
I guess Customizer was saying more like spot checking, replication of tasks. We've had people spoofing time, CPU time and stuff to get more credits, things like that, or to like say that they've finished a work unit or attempted it, able to spoof the credit system.
Oh, I got you. So actually, I went the paper I just wrote. I went into quite a bit of that for a new application because it was actually pretty tricky to get identical results for training the neural networks across the different compilers and operating systems. One of the issues is if you have just even small little variations in things when you're training these neural networks, they'll actually veer off in like completely different directions. So two people could be doing the same work and you get drastically different results. I actually had to implement my own like EXP function like for exponents because I was getting slightly different results on Windows and Linux compared to OS X, and so I was getting different results because of that. So I put a lot of work into making sure that we're getting we have validated the results get validated right across all the different operating systems and things like that. So we do send out multiple copies of work units, and then I make sure that I'm getting the same results back before awarding credit.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you basically answered the next question, which would have been, what do you do against cheating? Yeah, this is of course a sensitive subject because telling what you actually do would help the cheaters. Yeah, but for example, if people now detect someone is cheating, yeah, what's the best way? They should write into the forum something or contact you via email.
Yeah, I mean, publicly shame them in the forum is fine by me, and if you want to send me an email too, that's always good. I mean, in terms of work coming in, I'd be surprised if somebody could game the system because if they're trying to do less computation, they're going to come up with different results. And then for all our crowdsourcing stuff, we do validation on that too. And for video, we even have a system where people can like flag. When they go through and see what they've already looked at, they can flag other users' results as being weird or something like that. So we have a few things in place.
Good to hear. Very good to hear. Yeah, perfect.
Indeed.
Yeah, the last project-specific question would be about your background, Travis. But I'll read them out. So, what field did you study in, and how did you get your project started? But you mentioned all of that. And were you involved with distributive computing in the past? Yeah, or other things you want to talk about yourself?
Sure, I can go into that a little bit. I've been in computer science for, I don't know, like undergrad, grad school. I actually started programming in middle school, so I've been doing it for a while. I started when I was an undergrad. I took the first course from Carlos Varela when he just came to the university, and it was on distributed computing. And at the end of that, he asked me if I wanted to do research with him. And for me, that seemed like an awesome opportunity and way better than a regular summer job. So I started doing research in distributed computing when I was, I don't know, a sophomore or a junior. And we actually have a programming language called Salsa, which is kind of Java-based, and it's for kind of easily programming distributed systems using the actor model. So it's got a lot of cool things in it, like actors, which are like objects. You can migrate them around to different computers, and it kind of handles that all for you. And it's a pretty neat programming language. So my master's work was actually on distributed computing using Salsa. And then when I started working with Heidi Newberg and them on Milky Way at Home, that's when I started working on BOINC. And then, Milky Way at Home, DNA at Home, then I came to UND and set up Wildlife at Home and Subset Summit at Home and all these other projects. So I've done a lot of distributed computing in the past. And now, my main areas of study are, I'm very interested in evolutionary algorithms and machine learning. Milky Way at Home uses an evolutionary algorithm that I set up to do the optimization of the models of the Milky Way that they're looking at. And I like to do the evolutionary computing and machine learning on high performance or distributed computing resources. So I kind of like mix the three. And then here at UND, our PhD in computer science actually isn't computer science, it's scientific computing. So all our PhD students here at UND have to work with somebody outside of the computer science department on somewhat of an applied computing project. So that's why I've been working with people in biology. I have students working in geology, med school, just kind of all over the place. So I kind of like applying these computer vision topics to interesting problems in other scientific fields. It keeps things interesting for me. Kind of a little funny story. Right after I got my PhD, Dave Anderson, who set up BOINC, was on my PhD committee, and we had a little chat, kind of a private chat after me finishing my PhD. And he said when he was setting up BOINC, developing BOINC, he was really excited to think about working with different kinds of scientists on, and learning about other sciences and doing projects like that. But then he ended up just working on BOINC scheduling and pure computer science, and it was kind of sad. So in a lot of ways, I kind of feel like I'm living Dave Anderson's dream a little bit, because I'm getting to work with all the different scientists that he never got a chance to.
It's really cool, man.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I will also live vicariously through you.
Well, that's the fun thing about volunteer computing, right? Is that you guys all get to kind of be part of it.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. We help actually research. Yeah, indeed. Did you hear about Gridcoin already?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I didn't have too much time to dive into it too deeply to really understand it very well.
Okay, because actually Citizen Science Grid was already once on the whitelist, so I assumed the team itself would probably be on the top list in your BOINC project, and perhaps you'd have seen it there. Okay. So then the next question would have been, what do you think of Gridcoin? And anything that we could be doing better. Okay, then let me explain a little bit more about Gridcoin. So Gridcoin rewards launchers, with the coins. They subscribe. You provide working units, and Gridcoin does it in a decentralized manner. Identifies which user has done how much work, and then on a daily basis. And that motivation for them. Perhaps Customer wants to say a little bit more about Gridcoin.
we proportionally reward BOINC computation within Team Gridcoin. We currently have like 27 projects whitelisted. I think there's probably like another 8 that are active, which aren't on the whitelist. We're number 1 in the world at the moment, not for historical, but for active computation. We just won this year's Formula BOINC contest. Ooh. Yeah, we came like 6th last year, so it's a big jump this year in terms of growth.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so if we can get Citizen Science Grid whitelisted, then hopefully, the idea is that users see this as a new opportunity to earn Gridcoin, because each project in the whitelist is rewarded at an equal rate. So, Citizen Science Grid will have the same amount of Gridcoin allocated to it as World Community Grid or SETI at Home will be assigned, So when whitelisted, a bunch of computing power should shift to your project. So we'll probably move from, I think you said we were 6 on the leaderboard at the moment. We should shoot up to 1st. Hopefully that's the plan,
Yeah, I might even consider switching over just to get more magnitude, and because it's not exactly like a commercial IBM kind of thing. It's not like I hate IBM or whatever, but like if I can just support like the little guy, that's what I'm gonna do. That's just me, whatever. I'm so special.
And so, yes,
Cool
with Gridcoin, additionally, there's a extra piece of competition involved too. After the fact that the founder and stuff with the team can make all these competitions and sign up for all these people to migrate from.
Yeah, I think Citizen Science Grid has been. I'm trying to remember the team, or one of them has some kind of like BOINC challenge. So they've had our project be part of that, which is kind of fun to see. Kind of an influx of users for a month or so, or a couple of weeks when we're that part of the challenge. So is Gridcoin its own digital currency, or is it? Because I know I saw the question about experience with other cryptocurrencies. So I actually did mine some Bitcoins when I was in grad school, and then I think I kind of gave up on it and reformatted the computer. So I think I threw away like 40 grand worth of Bitcoins, which is just killing me nowadays. But yeah. So I do have a little bit of experience, but not too much.
In a classic sense of how Bitcoin is a digital currency, yes, it is pretty much a digital currency, and in the U.S. it's treated as property.
Yeah, we don't have like a proof of work to generate coins like in Bitcoin. We use proof of stake, which is basically like the amount of coins you have influences how likely you are to create the next block, to which we reward Gridcoin based on how much you're contributing to individual projects.
And the most important distinction to other coins is the other coins are basically wasting the energy, so to say, but we use the BOINC projects to help them, and this help identifies then the reward for the user. So basically the energy we use is not wasted. It helps science and research. And so that's a good distinction, for example, to Bitcoin, because they just waste the energy, a lot of energy. And so basically...
Yeah, a whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a comparison we can draw on how it's a big power suck without utility.
Here Grid accept Bitcoin donations, or for example, would you be willing to add a donation button on your website?
Yeah, I just need to figure out how to do it.
Okay. I mean, it's easy to do. I mean, there are two ways. The one way is, for example, you could just list a static address, Gridcoin address, and then people could send you Gridcoins. Or the more comfortable way is, where we also could help, is over the coin payments, and there probably Customer can give you a little bit more info.
Yeah, so coinpayments.net is our online payment processor we just got added to recently. So it allows you to accept dozens of different cryptocurrencies, but mainly, Bitcoin's the focus here. So you can sign up and create a custom donate button, and then that way users can crunch your project, get rewarded Gridcoin, and if they're feeling, generous, they can give you it back, to which you could then exchange to whatever coin you wanted or hold on to it, you know what I mean?
Or you could just get a wallet and put up your address.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the simplest, because you just need to add a text in your HTML files on the project, yeah, and then the wallet runs on your machine, and then you will see when a donation comes in or so, yeah.
Sure.
So that's the very easiest form, yeah. And with the coin payments, as Customer said, it's a little bit more coordinated and more services and so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you are interested, we can send you an email later and then talk more about it. Yeah, how we can help you set it up also. Yeah, so with a mumble session, and then so it goes very easy for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. And actually, I do a fair bit of crunching myself, just to test my own applications and things like that. So I might as well be doing it too.
Okay, good. Then we'll talk later more about it and continue this. The next question is, I didn't check now about the team founder. Did somebody check if the team founder is in our hands?
Yeah, I'll just quickly check it. 2 seconds.
Then I will. Okay.
Yeah, the team founder is me, actually. Travis and I had. Hi, Travis. We had an email conference when the team founder somehow uploaded a web page which was malware, or which was sending malware to the clicks. So I was named founder, and thanks for that, for this for this act. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, yeah, because the importance of the team founder for us is like this: the team founder of any team, BOINC team, can kick people out of the team, and then they wouldn't get any more Gridcoins, the reward, and so it must be assured that the team founder is a trusted person, or one of the usual persons who does it always for the other projects. So okay, then we can skip this question. The next question is, what do you think about the BOINC team requirement? So a little bit background story. So for Gridcoin, it's like that. If someone wants to get the reward, they must be in the team Gridcoin. Otherwise, they just help you with your science, with the working units, but they wouldn't get any reward. And the sub question is, do you feel it helps or hinders Gridcoin as a cryptocurrency and as a BOINC team? So basically, about this BOINC team requirement, what do you think about it?
Well, it's probably good for the Gridcoin team in that it's a pretty strong motivation to get people to join. Maybe the only thing I think about that is that I think there's a lot of kind of older teams out there that people have, been in for a long time, and they might want to do some things involving Gridcoin, but not want to leave their team that they've been a part of for a long time and have friends and so on and so forth.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and there are some Gridcoin community discussions about what we should do with it, if we should remove it or not. But it's nothing decided at the moment. Gridcoin users have to be in the team to receive a reward. Okay, so we have finished the Gridcoin related questions which we had. Does somebody have more questions or ideas about what we just talked? Perhaps first to Travis. Perhaps you have some more ideas.
Not too much on my end. I just need to maybe go read up on Gridcoin a little bit more. I have some homework.
We can help you set up your wallet in the IRC or here, whatever. We're pretty helpful peeps. I have a question. So you were talking before, like you help other people set up BOINC projects and stuff like that. I want to start a BOINC project. How hard would it be to go from idea with minimal programming knowledge, like friggin' minimal, like somewhere above HTML to like a working BOINC project?
Oh boy. BOINC can kind of be a pain in the butt, to be honest. If I was to design BOINC again, like C and C++ would not have been the language I did it in. And because to link against the BOINC, I think there's some stuff now where you have Python projects and run them in a virtual machine or something like that, but I'm not quite sure how stable or experimental that is. So usually the biggest issue I have when developing a BOINC project is actually getting things to compile can be a pain. But you need to make sure that you can validate your results, right? So if you send a work unit to two different computers, you want to make sure you get the same result back, or at least close enough that people aren't cheating. So a lot of times, at least for me, I'll be working with a scientist and they have some code that they'd like to run on BOINC. Well, getting it to the point where I'm getting the same results across multiple computers takes a fair bit of programming know-how. And then the other issue is that I'm pretty sure all of you guys like having your applications checkpoint themselves, and that can actually take a fair amount of programming too, because you need to be able to save the state of everything and make sure that two different people running the application get the same results, even if they've stopped and restarted the application at different points and things like that. So yeah, you need Linux knowledge, SQL, PHP, C++. It's fairly programming intensive. It's not an easy process, and a lot of times there are web pages out. BOINC has its web wiki, but a lot of times those web pages aren't particularly helpful. So I do send a lot of emails to the BOINC project mailing lists, like, why the hell is this not working? So yeah, without much programming knowledge, I don't want to be too negative, but it'll be an uphill battle. You probably learn a whole lot doing it, though.
Yeah, I am learning tons of things lately, because I do want to do this. But do you know of anybody that kind of helps people along or anything like that, like to make a BOINC project? Because maybe that could be something we could start. Like, not you, if you want to, that's cool. But
there is a mailing list. There is. I was once earlier a BOINC helper. Yes, a specific mailing list, and then you can write there. It's about BOINC clients, but you can also contact them about BOINC servers. So basically, I can give you a link or search for the BOINC mailing list. Yeah, then you can either post there. Yeah, and well, the BOINC IRC is also a little bit active. But I think the best thing would be now, as you have done, ask Travis, or for example, Custominer runs it in the Docker, or for example, Yo-Yo has probably also experience. He's here, ask other. But the mailing list definitely is also helpful, yeah. And I think the best thing would be the Custominer to ask with the Docker. And personally, they had a virtual box image plan, and it worked. I had several virtual box machines, and I could send from there to there and opened up a BOINC client, and it worked, So just for testing at home, it worked. For real life, you definitely need a stable, more environment, more hardware, and so
I wrote down BOINC mailing list, and sorry for Travis again. What would be the difference between like starting my own BOINC project and running it through Citizen Science Grid? What would be like the challenges unique to that situation?
So I mean, if you're gonna do this, you can always also email me with questions. I'm pretty good about responding to emails. I'm not too stuffy that way.
Cool.
But if you're doing it yourself, you're gonna need to have a server somewhere, right, with a stable IP address and things like that. You might be able to do it on the cloud somewhere. That might make your life a little bit easier. So you have to, have the right hardware set up and make sure networking is all taken care of and things like that too. So adding a project to the Citizen Science Grid, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. We just need the BOINC app. And then, I have some IT staff here at the university that help me make sure the server stays up and all the networking is taken care of and things like that. So the nice thing about Citizen Science Grid for me, at any rate, is it's pretty easy for me to add a new application or things like that, as opposed to having to do a whole nother BOINC project from the ground up.
Okay.
This is actually good information. So can we distribute the info that people who are interested can come to you, and you could basically run it for them? I mean, when they give the source code to the app, for example. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, with the only caveat is that I do have my time is somewhat limited. So depending on, it'll also be depending on my time constraints. But
well, because we have that BOINC brainstorming project thread and stuff. Some people have come up with like some really good ideas, but quite frankly, I think like one or two of us have no idea how to get the hell of anything off the ground. So yeah, this is really good info, and nobody bugged Travis too much.
I honestly really don't mind. I just might be, depending on what's going on, I might be slow responding to emails.
All right, cool, man. That's awesome.
I have no question. So basically, you are alone doing this, yeah? You have no intern or so who helps you, or with the...
Well, actually, right now I have two graduate students. They're master's students helping with wildlife at home. Marshall Mattingly, he's been doing a lot of the web pages for marking up images and things like that. And then Connor has been developing some of his own applications, and we'll hopefully have another app on the Citizen Science Grid. That's been his work. So hopefully he'll get a master's thesis out of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then actually I have a PhD student working on DNA at home, but unfortunately he has a wife, kids, and a full-time job, so he's got even less time than me, it seems like. So.
Okay. Cool. Mm-hmm. I have another question, since challenges were mentioned. When the CSG, Citizen Science Grid, gets into the whitelist, we can also make challenges. We do challenges, regularly. And if you like, we can do a specific one for you. For example, if you say, I like 3-day challenges or 1 week long challenges, we can customize and set up for you. If you need some preparation with you need like 3 days to prepare the working units, so all goes well, then we can set up a specific challenge also for you.
Oh, that could be cool. Sometimes I think right now things are pretty stable, but when crunch time hits for getting research papers out the door and we need more results, having well-timed challenges could actually be very useful.
Well, then you can just post either in the forum, in the Cryptocoin Talk forum, or in chat, in IRC. We are mostly always there, Customer or IRC. You just need to grab someone, and he can give us the message.
Cool.
And then, it should. So, that's good to know. More questions by the attending people? Or ideas, topics, or thoughts about what we talked about so far?
I actually have one question for you guys. So one of the things I was thinking about doing on the Citizen Science Grid, just to kind of, maybe bring a little more interest to the crowdsourcing things, or vice versa, is to maybe give a bonus and credit for people who watch a lot of video, right? So, maybe have a 25% chance for every video that you've watched that's been validated against somebody else, for you to bump up your credit by, 5% for a day, just to make things a little more interesting. I don't know if that violates any BOINC or Gridcoin rules.
Sounds good.
Well, I have a concern with the video watching, because first I'd like to know how. Okay, no, let's go one step back. So with the work units, we know that you validate them, yeah, and you said it's quite secure against cheating, but I don't know exactly, yeah, with bots, because I for example, I can script fast a bot, which can click, blah, blah, yeah. So I'd be interested first, yeah, how you check that really a human does it, yeah. For example, if you have a check like, okay, a human can watch only per day these minutes, yeah, because he sleeps, he eats, blah blah blah. He cannot watch more than 5 hours or 6 hours or something, yeah. If you have a check like that, and if you have a check, other checks, because the thing is, as soon as you add it to the credits, yeah, it makes it easier without any computational power, yeah, to gain credits.
Yeah, so actually we have a lot in place there. I'm going to link a paper. This is actually Marshall's last paper, and we got a best of conference award for it at eScience. So actually we have validation for the things that the humans are doing too. So when it comes to marking up images, we actually show the same image to multiple people and then make sure that the boxes they're drawing are correct. So we've kind of investigated algorithms on how to do that right. So because we want to get the right information out of it, because we're using it as training data for our neural networks or other computer vision techniques. So for the images, we have a validation system set up, and we also have a validation system set up for watching video. So we show the same video to multiple people, and then I actually we align. Because you actually mark up what's happening when, so we make sure that within a couple seconds of each other that they're marking up the same points of the video. So I mean, if somebody did go in there and just clicked random things, they wouldn't get any credit for it, because it's got to be validated against other users doing the same thing.
Travis, about your idea, I think it's the best when you post it in the forum, because it's different than usual, also in the Gridcoin forum, and perhaps if you have some links from your forum itself, it would also help. Yeah, my initial consideration is against cheaters, yeah, because then it would hurt actually Gridcoin. Or
definitely.
the let's say the honest users, yeah, who actually invest computer power, yeah, and then get a disadvantage. So yeah, about the what?
Yeah, sure. I'm very very I've been doing BOINC projects for like 7-8 years now, so I'm very aware of the issue of cheaters or sometimes not even cheaters, but somebody's got their computer set up wrong. So sometimes it's not malicious results, but they're still bad. And making sure that because on our end we want to make sure the results we're getting are correct too. So it affects our end just as much as it affects you guys.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a time frame when you would like to introduce this, or?
It's kind of when I can get around to it. Right now, expanding the current application. There's some things involving science that I really want to get working for it. So that's kind of top of my list, and it'd probably be after that.
Okay. As a plan B, let's say all of the Gridcoin community would be against it. Yeah. How could you or would you do it otherwise? Make perhaps a new BOINC project and do it there like that, that the users only in that BOINC project get it, for example, or other ways to go around it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like dead set on it. So if the community is against it, I won't do it. It's just something I thought might be fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, like I can't do the research without you guys crunching. So I got to keep you happy, right?
Yeah, it's just a question, because when we talk about it, perhaps it comes up, and then we can already answer them about, how do you think about it and so. Okay, I'll post it in the forum, yeah, and then I'll send you also a link to there, so you keep updated about it. And the whitelist poll itself will run out in 2 weeks, so I can also send you a link to that so that you are up to date there. And Customer posted a question. Travis, would you be able to post a notice about this whitelist poll on your BOINC system, on your news, for example, or in the forum itself somewhere?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then I'll send you the link later on. We'll talk about it. Cool. Yeah, Travis, do you have some more thoughts about Gridcoin or something you wanted to mention?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is kind of exciting, and it's been fun being able to sit and chat with you guys about this. I kind of appreciate what you're doing. It's a nice way to kind of maybe get some more information out.
Yeah, we like it too. I have a question. Who remembers what was the reason that CSG was removed originally from the whitelist? Was it due to missing working units, right?
I think it's lack of work, maybe.
Yeah, lack of work.
Okay. So the question now would be in this poll. I mean, it's already ongoing, but Travis, you can assure that you have a steady flow now, yeah? Because basically all the interview came like this, because I saw the news about CSG, and I always noticed that Travis posted there, with the goal he mentioned, with a steady workflow unit, So I thought, that sounds good, and then I contacted him, and so what are your plans about having a steady flow of work units, Travis?
So I'm actually really happy with it, with the new algorithm we're running. So this exact evolving neural networks thing, the way it's set up, basically whenever anybody requests work, we can generate work for them. So in the past, like DNA at home is a little weird, where we kind of can have a fixed amount of work units running at any given time. So it's kind of limited. So people might be looking for work, but we can't generate it for them. So that's not the case anymore, which is really nice. So whenever anybody requests work from the server now, we should be able to generate it for them, which is a good spot to be in on my end.
That's good information, because for the Gridcoin users, it's important, to have working units always. Cool. And another question or information from Custom Miner. We are, Travis, having usual conference calls like this. And if you want, you can join the next one, because when you are having a wallet, Gridcoin wallet, you would be good to get the latest news and so, about it. But we make also minutes about these hangouts, so you can read them later on, and the audio files, as with this interview session, will be uploaded also later. So if you want, you can join it live, or you can also listen later on at a convenient time.
Sure. I'd be happy to drop in as I can. I think I sent you a message on in the forums that I'm traveling from like February 18th to the 28th, so I'll be out of town for about a week and a half. So I wouldn't be able to make that one, but definitely, keep me in the loop. I'd be happy to come in and join up.
Okay, I'll add this in the email, which I'll send you afterwards. Cool, great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so personally, I like the interview. Yeah, cool. And then I would say if nobody has any more remarks, questions, then I would say we'd officially stop it here. Travis, thank you again for your time. It was a very good interview. We have learned a lot. Yeah, I like it, and I can recommend CSG to any Gridcoin users.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you guys too.
Cheers.